Okay, guys, today I receive Dvoretsky Endgame Manual 6th edition. I also had the 5th edition. Honestly, I would like to have them all, or there was an edition that practically had blue. It was highlighted in blue, if I remember well. It could have been also highlighted in yellow, I don't know. But I like colorful stuff. I think they should highlight it again in color. Of course, I understand that it must be very expensive for the publisher, so hey, I'm sorry. And what's the difference between the two? Well, first of all, I must tell you that this new edition is 60 pages more. There is the foreword is by Magnus Carlsen, and while on the 5th edition there was the revised by Carsten Müller that everybody knows. Also, Magnus Carlsen. In the foreword, Magnus Carlsen says, I have learned the endgames thanks to Carsten Müller. He said, I have learned thanks to Carsten Müller fundamental chess ending, and I have learned the rook endgames thanks to this. In fact, I have a picture of Magnus Carlsen that read this book without chessboard. He's reading it for fun at the beach, I think. So for him was really great. I will read you the foreword by Magnus Carlsen because I think it's motivational. And you should listen to his words because it's true, he's the greatest of all time, but he's telling you something important because you can be great too in your own if you learn the endgame. He's clear about that. So you need to like it. And he discovered how to like it thanks also to this manual, okay? With that said, I told you it's 60 pages more, quite thicker than this. And why? Because Alex Fishbein, a grandmaster that has just won the US, I don't remember which tournament, maybe the senior US state championship, so he really did a great job. He practically revised the entire book. And as you can see, guys, to be successful, you need to know the endgame. Why? Because you can gain a material advantage, but if you don't know how to convert it, how do you do it? No? How do you do it? So guys, I want to start right away showing you a position that is a tragic comedy, because this book is not only about endgames, but it's about position that comes from real games in which things really get crazy. So this position is Yates versus Tartakover in Bad Homburg, 1927. Okay, so 98 years ago. It's black to move. I must tell you guys that the book has all the diagrams oriented from the white side, okay? So I'm sorry, that's not been changed from the 5th edition. I do believe that with generally this kind of files that you give to the publisher are with chess base, and so you should just flip the diagram. Is not a big deal, but they didn't do it, okay? So what I want you guys to do, because yes, I like to review the books, but I really like you to learn something from it. Otherwise we have wasted our time, and we cannot waste time, at least for me, because I'm old. I want you guys to learn something. So I'm talking, but you should put this position on your chessboard and think 10 minutes and see what you would play as black, okay? I hope you pause the video, you thought enough, and now I will give you the solution as from the book. I will show you more than one position in this review because, again, I care to give you a real review of this book that is not just beautiful words. I want you to get excited like Magnus for these endgames. I want you to enjoy chess at a different level, and you can only enjoy it when you know the endgame, because it starts from the middle game. That's the truth. The truth that Frank Johnson told me many years ago. He's an expert class player here in US, a great player. He told me, Davide, look, that the endgame starts already in the middle game, because you need to decide in which endgame you will enter. And so which pieces you will exchange depend on what you want to enter, right? So I'm sure you will love it. Because I will find you exciting position like this one that you think, oh, I win, and then, like Tartakova, you don't. What did Tartakova do? Notice, I don't read you all that Dvoretsky wrote, because for that you can read the book, okay? But Tartakova made a huge mistake. He thought that he had a one pawn endgame, and so he did what I have seen Alekin to do. Alekin also would say, oh, okay, you want to enter the pawn endgame. But what is the difference with Alekin? That Alekin generally calculate very, very precisely. So Tartakova made this move. That is a blunder, because after this, white takes, and black takes. After this, there is this. And then, boom. You understand the problem at this point, right? If you play this, is stalemate, the game is over, it's a draw. What do you play? No? Obviously, you have to play this. No? But at this point, it's up to you as white to avoid a big mistake. If you take the pawn, you have lost the game, because black gains the opposition. I can show it to you, but again, the book would teach you about the opposition, but it's a simple concept, okay? In this case, I will show you how white drew. He played this, okay? And this is what black probably missed when he did his calculation. He thought white would play this, and he didn't think of this move. And this is a draw. And you say, why it's a draw? Now I can show you the concept of the opposition. Let's say that black takes, right? And white takes. And black goes here. And you go here. You go always in front of the other king, right? Now, if this play this, you don't go like this, you just go in front, okay? And again, if he plays this, you still go in front of the pawn. And then, when he plays this, oops, and this is game over, because after this, tack, tack, okay? So, let's say that instead of this, he plays this. What do? You play this. And he plays this, right? And you stay in front of the pawn. And when he goes here, yes, you go in front of the king, because that's the opposition. So if you play this, tack, tack, and the game is over, because it's stalemate, okay? So we have seen this, but now we see something even more interesting, which is a game played by Yusupov, that was a good friend of Dvoretsky, against Lyuboyevich in the famous tournament Linares 1992. Why the tournament is famous? Well, if I remember well, so please guys try to forgive me if I make a mistake, but I think it's that the tournament in which Kasparov said, oh, you know, whoever wins Linares 1992 is the strongest player in the world. In the time he was world champion, so he was sure that he would win. And like always in chess, you cannot be sure of anything because it's crazy, right? So what happens is that I think Kasparov didn't win, arrived second, and Karpov arrived fourth. And so, okay. So this is Yusupov Lyuboyevich, Linares 1992. It's still black to move. Okay. Here it says white's rook is tied to the defense of a pawn at g3. Okay. Black would have won easily if he had transferred his rook by, and here I hope you have paused the video because I'm going to show you the solution, right? The correct move was this, okay? Because it prevents the white king from approaching the pawns. If he does this, there is this, okay? And then, of course, there is this move that wins. So, what did Lyuboyevich play? And Lyuboyevich was a top player in that period, okay? So he wasn't someone not good like us. So he played this move. Big mistake. Big mistake. And you say, why? Again, opposition, right? Rook takes g, h takes g, and now white has the opposition at this point, but Lyuboyevich counted on this move, f6, okay? And after this, take, here, rook king f4, and g5. Now, this is the moment that it's important, because you see, it's true, they are all draw the rook endings, but when they become pawn endings, things can change. So what do you think white played in this position? He played king f3. And that blocks everything, practically. So let's see what happened, okay guys? He played this, trying to have a long, or the short long, because there is also at 5 square opposition. Yusupov play this. He goes here. This opposition, okay? This is the kind of long opposition, but remember guys, there is also another one at 5 squares, okay? He plays this because he's trying to trick white, but white doesn't get tricked. And when he played this, guess what? Oops, the diagonal opposition. So you cannot win here, okay? But here the good thing, as you can see, at the end of the chapter, there are also exercises. So that's really good because more than the end of the chapters, at the end of this part of the pawn endgames, okay? There are these exercises because they can teach you a lot. So let me pause the video and we go to see another position. Okay guys, I want to show you this endgame that comes always from the chapter on pawn endgames. And you say, but why pawn endgames? Because you will see. The game is Stolz against Nintsovich in Berlin 1928. So again, a very ancient game, right? Here you need to understand how to secure the draw for white, because clearly it can be overwhelmed by the pawns and by the possibility of a checkmate. Here it says white would secure the draw by advancing his a pawn and then putting back putting behind the rook, right? So the thing would be like this, takes and this, and then that's a draw, okay? So as you can see, it's important to know this simple rule that can be uh, taught you by this book, right? Instead, um, White made a big blunder. Why he made a big blunder? Let me tell you why. Because he thought that since he had two pawns, because this is maybe not written here, I'm just reading, I'm not reading it. I tell you, when you have two pawns together, especially if they reach here, they are practically unstoppable, even for a rook. So it's a big advantage, right? So Stolz played this, which is a blunder. Okay, rook takes d2, king takes d2, and now what do you think black played? Black played this, f4. Why f4 it's good? Well, first of all, if white play this, obviously black goes back to try to get it. The problem here is that these two pawns can advance and let's say promote. So white play this. And now, guys, it's to think what would you do if you were black? Sorry, I should have probably put it from the black side, but I thought that white could win or draw, let's say. He played this. He says the square of d4 and g4 pawns reaches the edge of the board. That means it is impossible to prevent one of them from winning. That's what I just said, promoting. The same could be also said of the white's pawn, but they are much too late. Not the excellent move of the black king from d6. It is prepared to stop either white pawn with minimum effort. So I played this, g3, a6, whoops. And sometimes, yeah, guys, we are at move 5 here. Maybe it was a little difficult to visualize for Stolz, and I don't know if he had enough time. I don't know, because you see, in the endgame, time is kind of important for visualization. So black played this, d3, right? Because what do you do? If you try to go there, he promotes, so he takes. But once he takes, the game is over, right? Because there is this queen, and now obviously white tries to promote his own pawn, but I don't think he can, because you see this move cut the king, and so it's a problem, right? And now this king can go to stop that while the queen will take it, so no big deal. Track, and here white resign. So also this game it's a tragic comedy, okay? So let's see maybe another endgame. So let me pause the video and choose a position that you will be able to solve. So you can learn while watching this review. Because more exercise you do, the more familiar you are and the more you will eventually save your games when it will be needed. Okay, this position that you see on the board is not a natural endgame, also if it could be, right? Because after all, just one pawn and one pawn. This endgame was made a study by Grigoriev, a very famous Russian composer, but also player, that created very beautiful endgames. And I have a book of them. It's really great. Let me show you the book. This is N.D. Grigoriev, Finali di Scacchi, sesta edizione. Chess Endgames, 6th edition, like the one of Dvoretsky. This is a book that is not the book itself, because again, 6th edition, but Grigoriev wrote it probably 100 years ago. Now, the book is about all these endgames with few pieces generally over the board, okay? And you can see it here. Why I tell you it's really important? Generally, I don't like studies. I think they are artificial, they are not good, blah, 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 blah. But in this case, now I'm showing you Grigoriev, then I'm going to show you the same position that actually happened in a grandmaster game, also if inverted as a part. So you are white, try to calculate, because this will strain your visualization and make you understand if you are good or if you have to improve your visualization and calculation skill, okay? So, how do you win this game? No? The correct move for white is king d4, okay? B5, f4, b4, f5, b3. At this point, you have this boom, this move that is amazing. Because now black, in order to advance his pawn, needs to waste a tempo. And that tempo will cost a lot. f6, b2, okay? f7, and b1 queen. Let's see where is the queen. So can you guess what happened now? Obviously, f8 queen, check. And here, obviously, you give checkmate or you gain the queen, whatever you like. How do you get checkmate? This is kind of simple. If you go here, you lose the queen, because check goes here, check, boom. If he doesn't go there, he goes here, right? Then it's checkmate, because this move gives checkmate. Now, we see the tragicomedy, and this game was played between Ljubojevich, that we have seen before, and Brown, Grandmaster Brown, right? But he also wrote a book that I'm interested, and maybe I already made a video, or I will make a video. In any case, so sorry, it's here. Okay, this is the same position with inverted colors by Grigoriev, that made it in 1928. So again, what was 97 years ago. And here he says, recognize this position? Yes, it is the Grigoriev study we just examined, except with color reverse, and the black king positioned differently, which has no meaning here. Why? Because it's black to move. If black plays this move, he wins, okay? He wins the game. Instead, black played f5, which is a blunder, okay? Why? Because now you don't advance, right? You just go here. And this tells you that the king has entered in the line of that pawn in the promotion square, the famous triangulation rule, and so you cannot win. And here it seems the draw was agreed. Now you don't have to believe me, right? Because tac, 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 oops, and so it's a draw, right? Instead, like we have seen for Grigoriev, if you play this, then things change. Why? The idea is the same. When the pawn reach here, you will go back and oblige him to move here, and your pawn here, when it goes to promote, give check. And so that's how you win this endgame. Again, it was a power of calculation, obviously. I'm not saying it's not power of calculation. And the beautiful thing of this book is that you see big names that draw instead of winning. So that's, for me, it's the interesting part. Now let me put on another position, and we are still in the chapter about pawns, also if we see that there are sometimes other pieces. Eventually, I don't know if to continue in this video or eventually to make another video to show you another chapter, because again, I would like you guys to really get passionate about endgames, because you will get your rewards at the board. You will win games, you will draw games that will make you think it's a win, because you say it's a loss, but your opponent doesn't know it, how to win it, and you know how to draw it. And so that's the huge difference. So let's do another position, okay? Okay, this is the position from a real game occur between Golombek and Keres in Margate 1939. It's Keres to move, black to move, and Keres played a mistake. He played this move, and his opponent resigned. Can you imagine? That's also, this is a kind of tragic comedy. Let's see why. Because he believed that after King d2, c1, queen, right? Knight takes c1, bishop takes c1, king takes c1, there is, oops, this. And now when he does this, he plays this, and he says his attack on the pawn a5 would come too late, okay? And he shows this king b3. But as you can see, it's important, the art of the calculation, right? The real move to play is this. Let's see why. Because after this, there is this, okay? And after this, there is this, okay? So when it takes here, there is this. Here takes, and now after this, h4, there is this, and this, and this. It's a draw. Why it's a draw? Let's see it, right? Tack, 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 queen, and guess what? Also, white takes a queen, we check, right? So as you can see, it's a problem. Notice if black plays this, queen a8, and is lost. Okay, so you must be a little careful on what you play. Okay, but as you can see here, there is much more analysis on this position that I show you. Okay, but I think it's very interesting for this, because white thought he lost. In reality, he could have drawn the game if he had the will and if he had the calculation skills. So as you can see, in chess is not only a question to know the technical phase, how to convert to something, but also to have a psychological strength. Okay. Okay, I think I have reached like half an hour of video. Honestly, guys, I would go on all night long about this great book. And guys, since I promised you to read you the foreword by our friend, the best of the best, Magnus Carlsen, I think I should do that, okay? Because I think this will maybe give you more will, more interest in playing endgames, in learning endgames. He says, if you perceive endgames as simply a dreary task of memorizing rules and principles, then this book is probably not for you. But if you realize that endgames are a window into the joy, beauty, and knowledge inherent in chess, then Dvoretsky Endgame Manual may be just what you are looking for. Now, guys, obviously, I wouldn't recommend Dvoretsky Endgame Manual to someone who just has started to play chess, okay? Or someone who has maybe 900, 1000 as a rating. I think Capablanca made a beautiful book that is also like 100 years old, fundamental of chess, and in there are the endgames you need to know. However, let's continue to read our goat, the best of the best, that we must congratulate because he just had a baby, right? He says, when I was young, I struggled with theoretical endgames. As I learned more about them, my confidence grew, particularly in defending difficult positions. At the time, the book by Carsten Müller and Frank Lamprecht, Fundamental Chess Endings, this one, okay, certainly helped me. But when I was reading it, I was not trying to learn any specific set of positions. Rather, it was fun and enlightening to become immersed in the unbelievable intricacies of positions with only few pieces. Much later, I felt much the same when I read another book by Carsten. By the way, Carsten is really a great guy because he is so passionate about endgames that you cannot be involved with him and not start to love endgames, okay? That's the thing, the passion that can pass you, and so I wish you guys that you will see some videos on endgames made by him. I think in ChessBase magazine there is his videos, every ChessBase magazine. I don't miss one issue because I like to listen to him and I like to see what he shows. He's a really great guy. Okay, so he says, I read another book by Carlsen, Understanding Rook Endgames. These two are two of my favorite endgame books, and they broaden my horizon in two very different phases of my chess career. Carsten Müller and his co-editor Alex Fishbein, because Alex Fishbein is also in the 6th edition, bring the same analytical passion and rigor to the newest edition of Dvoretsky Endgame Manual, but the voice in the book remains unmistakably the voice of its author, Mark Dvoretsky. As such, this book occupies a very special place in chess literature. Dvoretsky was not only one of the most knowledgeable and successful coaches of all time, he was also a prolific and unbelievably enjoyable chess writer, and he compiled an impressive database of chess puzzles, his famous index cards. Then he continues saying, Dvoretsky exercises and tragicomedies are fun and instructive, but they demonstrate how incredibly difficult endings can be. The 6th edition contains more examples of the world's best player mishandling endings, especially at faster time controls. And don't worry if you cannot solve all the exercises. There are some puzzles here that are even too difficult for me. So, how will you benefit by reading this book? Its most compelling characteristics are that it is interesting, enjoyable, and very instructive. That also means you will learn more and retain your knowledge longer. I think that Dvoretsky Endgame Manual, when viewed through the sparkling prism of positions with limited material, will bring you pleasure by showing you the inexhaustible beauty in chess. And that may be what reading chess book is all about. Of course, you may also have some specific objectives. You may feel you need to learn some precise positions, improve your general endgame understanding, or boost your calculation skills. You will then find that Dvoretsky's book contains no shortage of science and will serve you quite well in that regard. It is as thorough as it is deep. Whether you have particular goals for your study of endgames or just read chess books for enjoyment, I don't read them, sorry guys, I just like to buy them, because I think it's right that we give some money to Carlsen and Alex Fishbein, because they did a great job. So that's the reason, okay? So he said, or just read chess books for enjoyment. As I do, Dvoretsky Endgame Manual will fill you with the joy and knowledge that will surely improve both your endgame skills and your understanding of our royal game. Magnus Carlsen, 16th World Champion, May 2025. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you want another review of another chapter, since here there are many chapters that you can see. Chapter 1 is on pawn and games, chapter 2 on knight versus pawns, chapter 3 knight and games, chapter 4 bishop versus pawns, chapter 5 opposite color bishops that every beginner thinks they are a draw, and mostly they are, but you must be very, very careful. When I was around 1800, I had the particular fights with this kind of endgames because my opponents wouldn't give up and would invent some new maneuvers to try to outplay me. And so I had to imagine what they were thinking and how to neutralize it, because I tell you, opposite color bishops are not draw sometimes, and if you make the mistake of thinking like that, you're going to lose the games. So chapter 6, bishops of the same color. Chapter 7, bishop versus knight. And then chapter 8, rook versus pawn. And chapter 9, rook endgames, finally. Oh. Then we have chapter 10, rook versus knight. Chapter 11, rook versus bishop. Chapter 12, queen endgames. Chapter 13, queen versus rook. And this is also a very interesting endgame, because I have saved some stuff with a rook against the queen. Chapter 14, other material relations. Chapter 15, general endgame ideas. And chapter 16, the solutions. Here you can see a picture of Mark Dvoretsky, which unfortunately passed away kind of young, I think. I don't remember the precise year. Let me see if it's written there. So this was written in September 2003, and let's see, in 2016. Dvoretsky passed away in 2016. In any case, thank you very much for watching this video, and let me know if there is a chapter you would like to see in the next video. Thank you, guys.